Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how you can install Kali Linux on your Virtualbox. So those of you who don't know what is Virtualbox, Virtualbox is a tool using which you can run any operating system virtually on your host machine. So in this case I have Windows as my host machine on which I have installed Virtualbox, and using Virtualbox I can run many different operating systems on my host machine, which is Windows 10 using Virtualbox. Now if you have never installed Virtualbox on your Windows operating system, the procedure is really simple. Just search for Virtualbox on your favorite browser, and then the first link which will appear here will be from virtualbox.org. So just click that link, and once this website opens, you just need to click on the downloads link here. Otherwise you can see directly this website will open when you click on the search result, and then you just need to click on the Windows host link, which is going to download an executable file. So you just need to click on that executable file and then just press some next button. The procedure is really simple. So I will not show how to install Virtualbox. You just need to press some next button, and then Virtualbox will be installed on your Windows operating system. And when you open Virtualbox, it's going to look like this. Now the second thing Virtualbox needs is the ISO file of the operating system which you want to install on Virtualbox. So we want to install Kali Linux, so we need a Kali Linux ISO file. So for that you can search for Kali Linux on your favorite browser, and the first link which will appear here will be from kali.org. So we are going to just click on this link, and once this kali.org website opens, you will see this tab here, which is downloads, right? So just hover over the downloads tab and then just choose download Kali Linux. And here you will see many different options, right? So what we want is we want to click on this option which says Kali Linux 64-bit. Under this we have installer also written here. Okay, so just click on this link, and once you click on this link, you will see that the download of this Kali Linux ISO file will start. Now this file is around 2 GB, so it will take some time to download. So I have already downloaded this ISO file, and once you have downloaded this ISO file, this is going to look like this. Okay, so this file name is kali-linux-2020.1b, which is the version at the time of making this video, -installer-amd64.iso files. So we have downloaded the 64-bit ISO file. Now once you have this ISO file, we are ready to install Kali Linux on our Virtualbox. So just open your Virtualbox manager, and then you just need to click on this new button here and give the name to your Kali Linux operating system. So because we are installing Kali Linux, so I'm going to just give the name Kali to my virtual machine, and then from the type you can choose Linux from here. Now in the version you will see many different options, and you will not find Kali option here. So the nearest to this is Debian 64-bit. Okay, so just choose Debian 64-bit here and the version, and then click on next. Now in the memory size, I always like to move it to the green level. So up to the green level, I just move this here, and then I will click next. And in the hard disk, I will leave this as default, which is create a virtual hard disk now, and then click on the create button. Now here hard disk file type, I will leave it as VDI, which is virtual disk image, and then click on next. And in the storage on physical hard drive, I will leave it as default, which is dynamically allocated. If you want to read more about what is dynamically allocated or fixed size, the description is given here, so you can read more about that. So I'm going to choose dynamically allocated and then click on next. And here you can choose the file location and the size which you want to give to your Kali Linux. So the location by default is this one. So if you don't have the good reason to change this location, just leave it as default. And the size here by default is 8 GB. So I will move it to around, let's say 100 GB here. So I'm going to just move it to approximately 100 GB and then click on the create button. This is going to create a virtual machine on your VirtualBox manager, you can see here. But still you don't need to click on the start button. Just choose the Kali Linux option here and then click on the settings option. And once the setting option opens, you will see we have chosen some of the settings from the create virtual machine options already. So you will see all those options here, and at any time you can change these settings. So in general, just go to the advanced settings and then just choose in the shared clipboard and drag and drop bi-directional option. This will enable you to drag the files from your host machine, which is Windows in my case, to the Kali Linux and vice versa. Now in the description you can provide any description, and in the disk encryption just leave it as default. Now in the system, just click on system here, and when you go to the processors here, so by default VirtualBox assigns one CPU to your virtual machine, but you can move it to use more CPUs from here. So I will choose 4 CPUs here, but you can move it according to your host machine's capabilities. For now I will choose 4 processors here, and I will leave the other things as default. In the display I will leave everything as default, and now just move to the storage section. So this section is important because from this section we are going to provide the ISO file location. So just click on storage and then click on the empty disk option here, and then just click on this CD icon. And once you click on the CD icon, just choose this option which says choose a disk file. And from here you just need to browse to the location where you have downloaded your Kali Linux ISO file. So I'm going to just copy the path from here and then paste here, and then choose this ISO file path which I have chosen, and then click on open. And you will see this file here now. Okay, so make sure that you see the same file name which you have downloaded, right? So once you see this, every other settings is by default for now okay, but in future also you can change any other settings if you are not happy with those default settings. So for now I'm going to just click on OK. And once you click on OK, you are ready to start your virtual machine installation. So just click on Kali and then click on start, which is going to start the installation of your Kali Linux. Now at this point, I'm going to just click on the start button, and you will be able to see this kind of window. So you can see there are many different ways in which you can install Kali Linux. But the most popular one is graphical install. So just leave this as default, which is graphical install. If this is not selected by default, you can use your arrow keys to move to the location where you highlight your graphical install option and then press enter key. So just press enter, which is going to start the installation of Kali Linux. So now you will see this window where you can select the language in which you want to install Kali Linux. So here you can see many different languages. I'm going to choose the English language for now and then click on continue. And on the next window you can select your location. So by default it's United States, but you can choose any other locations from here. I will leave United States as it is and then click on continue. And now you can configure the keyboard layout. So many different regions have different keyboard layouts, right? So in my case, I'm going to use a German keyboard layout because I'm using a German keyboard. So I'm going to choose German. but you can choose any other keyboard layouts from here. Okay, so I will choose German and then click on continue. And now you can see it says detect and mount installation media. So just wait for the next option to appear. Now after some time you will see this window where you can configure the network. So here you can give any name to your host name. By default it's Kali. I will leave it as default, but you can change this host name anytime you want. So I will leave it as Kali and then click on continue. And on the next window you can choose the domain name. So if you don't have the domain name, you can leave it as blank, and I will also leave it as blank and click on continue. And now it's going to ask for the full name of the new user. So here you can provide the full name of the user. For now I'm going to provide, let's say, Codebind in my case, but you can provide any other name as full name. Now the username by default will be selected whatever you have given in the previous window. I will leave it also as default, which is Codebind in my case. If you want to change this username of your account, then you can change it from here also. Now click on continue. Now here you can set any password which you will use at the time of login to your Kali Linux. Okay, so I'm going to choose a simple password for now and then verify this password. You just need to remember this password and use this password at the time of login, right? And then click on continue. And now you can choose the clock. So for now I'm going to choose central region. These options will appear different if you have chosen the different location. Then click on continue. And now after some time you will see this option. Here you have as the partition disk many options here. I will choose this option which says guided use entire disk for now, and then click on continue. And you have this option, so you don't have any other option but to choose this. So I will just click on continue once again. And on the next window you can choose the partition disks. So you have three options here. I will choose the first option from here, but you can choose wisely from those two options also. So I will leave it on you whatever you want to choose. I will choose the first option here, which is all files in one partition, and then click on continue. And now I have this option which says partition disk. I will just leave everything as default, which is finish partitioning and write the changes to the disk, and then click on continue. And then you have the next window. So here you can see it asks us write the changes to the disk. So I will say yes and then click on continue. Now at this stage you may have to wait for some time until this process reaches to the end. And now you will see this window which says configure the package manager. So for now I don't have any package manager information, so I will leave it as blank. You can leave it as blank if you don't have any, and then click on continue. So now I can see this window which says software selection here. So by default this Kali default desktop environment is selected here, but if you want any other desktop environment, for example Genome or KDE Plasma or any other desktop environment, you can choose it from these options, right? I will leave everything as default because it's enough, and then click on continue. Now after some time I can see this message which is an installation step failed. This might be related to my Windows operating system or my internet connection most probably. So I will just click on continue here, and then it says select and install the software. So I will click on continue and then click on continue once again. So now I can see this window which says install the grub bootloader on the hard disk. I will just select yes and then click on continue. And then I will select the second option here which says dev/SDA and then click on continue. And at last I can see this message which says finish the installation. Installation is complete. So it is time to boot into the new system. Make sure to remove the installation media so that you can boot into the new system rather than restarting the installation. So I'm going to just click on continue here. So on this step, the Kali Linux is going to restart by itself. You don't need to do anything. So just wait for the Kali Linux to restart, and at last you will see this kind of a login window here. So now it's time to provide your username and password. So I hope you remember your username and password which you have provided at the time of installation. As you remember, I have provided code bind as the username, and the password I have provided also. So I will just give the same password and then click on login. And now I can see this Kali Linux desktop. Okay. Now one thing you will notice here is when you just maximize this window of the Virtualbox, the Kali Linux desktop will not resize according to the size of your Virtualbox window. So this problem we can solve by installing the Virtualbox guest editions on our Kali Linux. Now to install Virtualbox guest editions on Kali Linux, what you can do is you can open the terminal. You will see terminal icon on the top here, or you can just click on this icon and then you will directly see the terminal emulator option here. So once the terminal is open, you just need to give this command here. I will provide this command in the description of the video also. And this command is sudo apt update and sudo apt install -y space linux -headers hyphen in the bracket uname space -r. So just give this command and then press enter, and then provide your Kali Linux password. And if it says that this Linux headers are installed and already are in the newest version, then it's very good. So now we can install Virtualbox guest editions by just clicking on the devices option here on the Virtualbox window. So just click on devices option and then click on insert guest edition CD image. So once you click on that option, when you minimize your terminal, you will see this kind of CD image on your desktop. So just click on this CD image and this will open this kind of window. So what you can do is you can just select all these files. So select all these files and copy all these files. And then what I would like to do is I will just paste all these files in the downloads folder, so I can delete them later once everything is done. And once I paste all these files here, I will open the terminal once again. So let me open the terminal. I will open the new terminal, and then I will just cd to the downloads folder where I will see all these files. So now I will just change the permissions to this Virtualbox Linux edition.run file. So I will give this command chmod 755 and the name of the file, which is this one. So just copy the file name and then press enter. And now I can run this file. So just write ./vbox linux editions.run file and then press enter. And it says this program must be run with administrator privileges. So I just need to add the sudo in front of this command. So I will just write sudo and then run it once again and give my Kali Linux password. And now it's asking me to provide the option here. So I will just provide yes here. Just type yes and then press enter. And you can see installing guest editions here. And now once this command is successful, at last you will see this message which says running kernel modules will not be replaced until you restart your system. So after this command, you just need to restart your Kali Linux. So let's just do that. I will close everything and then I'm going to just shut down the Kali Linux. And once the Kali Linux is shut down, I will restart it by just selecting Kali and then start it manually. And straight away after restarting, I can see that this Kali Linux login window is resized according to the size of my Windows desktop monitor. So once again, I will give the username which I have provided and the password which I have provided, and it's working. So now you can work on your Kali Linux in a better way. Now let's say I want to check whether my copy and paste options are working or not from my Windows operating system to my Kali Linux. So I can go to the browser and just copy some text from here. So let me copy this text. So this browser is running on my Windows operating system. I will just copy this text and then paste it on the terminal, and you can see I am able to do this, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy the text which is there on the terminal, and then I'm going to just copy all the selection from here, and then I will try to paste it on my browser. So you can see this is also working. So because we have selected bi-directional drag and drop and copy and paste, that's why all the copy and paste and drag and drop options will work. Also, let's try to check whether drag and drop option is working or not. So I'm going to just open some file on my Windows operating system, and I will just drag this file to the Kali Linux desktop, and you can see this file is copied on my Kali Linux desktop from my Windows operating system. So now drag and drop option is also working. So this is how you can install Kali Linux on your VirtualBox on Windows 10 operating system with the VirtualBox guest editions also. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next video.